Man, oh man, we got some drama to talk about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. Elliot here from MovieFiles. Just got out of an early screening of the new A24 dark comedy drama directed by Kristoffer Borgli by the name of The Drama, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. This will be a spoiler-free review. I just got out of the theater. Well, I didn't just get out of the theater. Saw the movie, talked about the movie because this is one of the talking points about this film. The conversation after you see this. Now, I do find this a hard film to talk about without talking about what it actually is about, but we're going to do my best without giving too much away, and maybe we'll talk spoilers at a later date if you guys are up to that discussion. Positively speaking, I love a film regardless if I loved it, hated it, somewhere in the middle, which I'll give you my score and let you know if I did like this film, but I always love the conversations that stem from films regardless of the quality of it, and this is a film that will definitely spark a lot of conversations from the narrative, from the themes, from the subject matter, from the performances, how the film handles certain things. This is what I love about movies. Again, regardless of if I like it or not, conversations about movies, about cinema, about storytelling is so important to me, especially in the times we live in now with AI, recycled ideas, nostalgia, reboots, prequels, sequels. Like, it is so nice and so refreshing to have a director like this. I've seen only one of his other films called Dream Scenario, 2023 with Nicolas Cage, Julianne Nicholson. Phenomenal film. He's someone that's on my radar now because he is such a interesting director, an auteur director with a very interesting perspective on how he wants to tell his stories. So direction, storytelling, that stuff is just so intriguing for me with this movie. So that's a positive, the conversation, negatively or positively, that comes with this film. I love that. More positives. I thought that the film, just from a film perspective, is really well shot, is really well put together. It's amazing editing too, like brilliant editing, especially when you find out what the film is tackling and how they use that device to kind of enhance anxieties and kind of paranoias. So again, I don't want to give too much away, but I like how it's edited as well. So performances, I think in the times we live in now, in my humble opinion, Zendaya and Robert Pattinson are in that realm of conversation as far as like A-list actors in today's times, right? They might not be able to sell a movie based on their names alone, but in our times where you can sell a movie off of IP or even directors before you can sell a movie off an actor, I think Zendaya and Robert are in that, Timothy Chalamet, Florence Pugh, Michael B. Jordan, like they're in that they're sitting at that table, in my opinion. And I thought Robert Pattinson, this is more, and this is kind of a negative and a positive, this is more of a Robert Pattinson's film, which is not a bad thing because he's one of my favorite actors. And I thought you see why he's a great actor. He's dealing with a lot. He's experiencing a lot. And I love how this film tackles and deals with the idea of, does your past define you? Can you grow? Can you evolve? Can you change when you did something or didn't do something? Does that define you? I love how that film handles that and how Robert Pattinson's character, Charlie, tackles with that subject matter in such an interesting, wacky, frustrating way, positively speaking, in regards to how he handles certain things. It's like, oh, why are you doing that? And again, it just evokes emotions and evokes reactions, and that's what I thought this film really did. It is no boring parts of this movie. It keeps you engaged. And again, I want to go back to Robert. He was great in this film. Zendaya is one of my favorite actresses as well. I'm a big fan of her work. I really became a Zendaya fan after experiencing, I know not everyone, another controversial project she's been a part of, the Euphoria. Her as Rue, to me, is just brilliant acting, a frustrating character, a lovable character, a character you root for, a character you hate, all of the above. I know, like I said, I know people don't like that show. I'm a big fan of Euphoria, and I think that's her best performance to date. But even the stuff she's been in from a film-wise, I think she's just such an interesting actress, and I thought that when the film allowed her, we'll talk about this later, to be a focal point, to be on screen a lot, I thought she was brilliant in her role. And I thought combining Robert and Zendaya in this film, even though we're going to see them in The Odyssey, in Dune 3 later this year, I don't think they're going to have as much screen time in those movies, but being able to see them on screen together, their chemistry is phenomenal. So they are brilliant. Again, I'll talk about Zendaya here in a little bit, and it's not her, but how the film uses her. Other things of this film that I took away from it is just, I have not been this interested in a post-conversation about a film in such a long time, and not even necessarily about, I guess it is about the film itself, but I'm just so interested to see how general audience will take this movie, because there's so many things in my head about mismarketing. Oh, I thought this was a rom-com, which this is a love story. It is a rom-com in a way, but not in the way that the movie might be marketing itself. But you can't reveal what this film is tackling without giving away what this film is tackling. So I'm so intrigued to see how people will be protesting against this film, how people will, and rightfully so, be maybe offended by this film. It's all perception, because it is very dark comedy, the stuff that this film is tackling. And I'm talking about, not to get political, but I'm talking about the left side, the right side. There is a subject matter in this film that is very polarizing, that, again, I might not be offended by how the film handles certain things, but I can easily see how someone could be very, very put off by what this film is introducing as its main kind of, what this film is tackling and how the characters are reacting to certain things in this film. So I am just so intrigued by that conversation. But let me get back into the film itself. Negatively speaking, I kind of hinted at it. Zendaya, brilliant, great, phenomenal. She's not in it enough. The way the film uses her in the first half, and she's almost, I don't want to say a MacGuffin, but what she's involved with is used as the launch pad to this film, and she's very much involved in the first half. But as the film goes on, it's more about Robert Pattinson dealing with her past and less about her as the film goes on, which was kind of frustrating because I think she's such a brilliant actor, and I thought the film kind of loses focus on that. And there's also other little things that I thought that the film had an entry point to tackle. Again, Robert Pattinson's character reveals something about himself. Why can't we tackle that a little bit further? There's also things about it's tiptoeing around things. There's just a lot of threads that I think this film should have pulled on further, should have explored further. And Zendaya is one of them. I wish she was involved in the film a lot further as we went along. The ending is something that I felt is just a little bit, cop-out isn't the word, but I feel like there's a lot more to explore within how we wrap the film up in regards to second chances, restarting. How do you restart your life after something like this? I wish that was expanded upon more. So there are just little things that I think kind of take away from like a fulfilling feeling after walking on this film from a narrative perspective. I can't talk about this film either further because I'm just going to end up giving away. And that's the thing. It's not even like a twist, but it's just like, it's the film. And again, going back to where my mind is, I'm just so, do you put a trigger warning on this movie when you see it? Oh man, I want to talk about this so much further and such much more deeper conversation. Should you see this film, the drama? Before we answer that question, I thank you all for watching up to this point in the video. Like, share, comment, consider subscribing. My score for the drama off of a first viewing, I'm sitting at a 3.5 out of 5. I was leaning towards going a little bit higher, but the more I'm thinking about certain things that should have been maybe focused on more, I wish Zendaya was in it more, it would have been like a 4 out of 5 for me, but I'm at a 3.5 out of 5. Should you see this? That's the toughest question because it all boils down to, what do you find to be offensive? What do you find to be subject matters that should not be handled in a way that it's in a dark comedy? So I can't suggest this to everyone, and I do wonder if it is misselling itself in regards to how this film can affect people. Regardless of how the film handles the subject matter, I just think that this is so much to talk about with this movie. But either way, 3.5 out of 5. I don't think this will be for everyone because I don't think people have, and this doesn't make one person better than the other. I just think that this is a very sensitive topic that this film is handling that will be triggering for a lot of people. And I'll just leave it at that. But as we wrap up, as a film lover, I love original films that challenge you, that spark conversations, that make you think, what would you do in that situation? Should you be defined by your past? Can you change as a person? I love those themes. And I thought this film, for the most part, handled those things with a very interesting navigation of the narrative with the performances. So that's my thoughts on the drama. Let me know in the comments below. What did you all think about it once you've seen it? Positives, negatives, and everything in between. Again, like, share, comment, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you all on the next video.